Hey friends, this is Kind Body Basics, and today we're going to break down and explore a move called over-unders. So if you imagine that you are going for a hike and a tree has fallen across the path, you have to make the choice, am I gonna go over it or am I gonna go under it? You can also imagine this same dilemma right next to a barn fence. So that would be like a fence that has a pole at the top and then like opening at the bottom for you, room for you. So this is what the over-under is. You're gonna imagine that you're stepping over something and you're stepping with your side facing the obstacle. So you can imagine my invisible obstacle here. So I'm gonna pick up my leg, and this is so great for hip mobility because I have to externally rotate to step over. And then I have to get the other leg over as well. So that's the over part. And then the under, you're gonna take a wide step and crouch low and come back up, okay? So let's break that down. Go ahead and just try the movement first. So start with your left side next to your imaginary obstacle and pick your left leg up as high as you can get it so that your foot comes as high away from the ground as possible. And then you're gonna take your leg out to the side and step down on the other side of your obstacle. Then shifting your weight into your left leg, you're gonna pick your right leg up. And again, bringing the foot as high up off the ground as you can, swinging the leg around and placing the right foot down on the ground. Now we're gonna go under. So we're going under to the right. So I'm gonna bend my knees and step my right leg out wide. I'm gonna keep my knees bent and my torso low. So my left leg straightens as my right knee bends and I come up out on the other side. Okay, so that's the over-under. I don't know about you, but it's a great workout because I'm already out of breath, but I have been talking the whole time. So it's so great for your hip mobility, it's great for balance, and it does have a real-world application. And that's why it's such a cool and important move. So let's break it down a little bit. To step over when you are lifting your leg, that's requiring a lot of hip flexion. So we all have our limit of hip flexion. Our thigh bone will only go as close to our torso as it will at this point in time. And we can work on that, but there are some things that you have to think about, like how big is your thigh and how big is your torso? So things like that can restrict your movement or just place kind of a wall to your movement there. So once you've reached, like this is my end range of flexion, okay? So I could, just by doing this, step over something that's about 2 feet tall, okay? But I could lift my foot higher away from the ground if I thrust my hips forward and lean my torso back. That gets my foot even higher up off of the ground. Can you see that? So take a moment, and if you need to use the wall for balance, you can hold on to the wall, and let's pick up the left leg away from the ground, okay? See how high you can get your left knee towards your chest, your left foot away from the ground, without moving your spine or thrusting your hips forward. See if you can keep yourself really centered, okay? And so kind of take stock there as to how much space you have. And now see if you can lift your leg higher. So again, you can thrust your hips forward. You can kind of lean back, right? Those are some things that are gonna change the distance between your foot and the ground, okay? Now come back to center with your torso and your spine. Now let's go ahead and switch to the other side because one side might be different than the other. So right knee, pull your right knee up towards your chest, okay? And try to keep your hips over your feet and your spine upright, no back bending just yet. And look down and see how much space you have. And maybe go back to the first side and see if there's a difference. Like I can bring my right thigh closer to my torso than my left, okay? There's lots of reasons why that might be possible or why that might happen in your body. And so just notice which one you have there. And so now let's see if you can get it higher by taking your hips forward and leaning back a little bit, okay? So you can see that you can make up for whatever limit or roadblock you have in the hip joint by taking your pelvis forward and leaning your torso back. Okay, come back upright and put your right foot down. But if we want to focus on our hip health and our hip mobility, then let's respect the current limit of our joints. So instead of thrusting our pelvis forward and doing that back bend to try to get the leg higher, we're just going to imagine a comfortably low obstacle to step over. And that's really going to help us to train the musculature around the hip joint. So coming back to the wall, if you need the balancing support, we're going to stand on the right foot, draw your left knee up away from the ground, and now take your knee and point it out to the left. Can you keep your knee just as high as when it was straight in front of you as you take it out to the side? Okay, so kind of go back and forth there. And can you feel your outer hip muscles working? Can you feel these standing leg hip muscles working on the right side? Okay. Now, let's go ahead and put the left foot down and do the right leg. So pick your right knee up as high as you can with keeping your pelvis over your heels. The weight of your pelvis should be over your heels and your torso upright, so we're not doing that back bend. Can you keep your knee at the same height as you take your knee out to the side? Okay, and just go back and forth there. Okay, great. Now go ahead and put that foot down. So let's go ahead and try the stepping over part. Now that we've kind of identified some things to focus on. So we're gonna try to step over while keeping the hips over the heels and the spine upright. So we're gonna avoid that thrust and back bend, okay? So again, if you need to put a chair in front of you to hold on to, or a chair on the side of you, or be near a wall, please feel free to do that. You can also do this with your back against the wall, and that can help you to make sure that you're staying upright and not thrusting your body forward to get your foot higher up off the ground. So we're gonna pretend like this obstacle is here on the left side. And so shift your weight into your right foot. Pick your left knee up away from the ground as high as it'll go, and then point your knee out to the side. And then you're gonna step down with that left foot on the other side of your obstacle. Now, press down into your left foot, pick your right knee up. So here, when you pick up, your knee is probably out to the side a little bit. And then you're gonna bring your knee back in front of you and step the right foot down. So let's go over to the other side now. So imagining that the obstacle is on our right, pick up your right foot, take your knee out to the side, step down, shifting your body weight into the right foot, pick your left knee up so that the knee points out to the side, and then point your knee straight ahead and put your left foot down. So let's go back and forth like that a few times. So left knee lifts up, point it out to the side, step over. Now get your right leg over and step down. Step back over to the right. Okay, one more each way. Can you feel your hips heating up? Last one. Great. Okay, now let's pay attention to the under. Okay, so if we break down the move of going under, we can see that we are kind of doing a squat with a hip hinge and also a one-legged wide squat like this, okay? So let's break it down. Take your left leg, so we're gonna imagine the obstacles here on our left side. Take your left leg and step it far away from your right leg. Now, when you bend your knee here, shift your hips back so that your glutes on that right leg are working really hard to help you here. Now, bring your torso down towards your thigh as much as you can. And now you're gonna move your torso and shift your weight to your left leg, and then lift your torso up and step your right foot to meet your left foot. Okay, so we're essentially just doing this, but we're keeping our torso down more parallel to the ground. Okay, so now we have the obstacle to our right side. So let's try it here. So step your right leg wide, okay, and now bend your left knee, keep your right leg straight, and shift your bottom back, shift your hips back, okay? Do you feel this outer left thigh and hip working to support you? Now, bring your torso down and see what that feels like. Can you keep your torso low as you shift your weight into your right foot and bend your right knee? Keep your hips shifting back, and let's just go back and forth there. If you need some extra support, you can put your hands on the ground here. That's another great variation. Also has a really practical application off the mat. You might, instead of going under something without using your hands, you might kind of clamber under an obstacle. Okay, so both work, both have real world applications. So let's shift our weight over to the right. Right knee bends, lift your torso, and step your left foot to meet your right. Okay, whew, are your legs awake? My legs are awake, definitely. Okay, so let's put it together in kind of one fluid movement going under. So you have to think about how deeply can you bend your knees and how close to your thighs can you get your torso. So that is gonna kind of clue you into the height of the obstacle that you can go under at this point today. And remember that as you practice, you might increase your range of motion and your obstacle might be able to drop lower to the ground. A really fun way to practice this is to have 2 chairs and a broomstick resting on the seat of each chair. And that might be too low for the under, but it might be a really great height for the over, just depending on your body. So let's give the under another try. So moving over to the left, you're gonna take a big step with your left leg and stay low. Start to come through a double squat until you get your right leg straight. And then you can step your right leg to meet your left and stand up. So let's go back to the other side. So you start to bend down, step your right foot to the other side, lower your torso, straightening your left leg and sliding up. Okay, so now let's put this together and do the over under. So if you imagine that you are only stepping over with one leg and then you immediately go back in the other direction, that is kind of the over under in the fitness world. So let's imagine that that obstacle is there on the left side. So you're gonna pick your left knee up and step over, and then you're gonna go back under to the right and stand up, okay? So you're essentially kind of going in a circle. Okay, that's one way to do it. Another way that we can do it is to step over with the left leg and then go under to the left. okay? And then that way it kind of leads nicely into doing the other side. So now let's do the other side. So take your right leg and step over, put your right foot down, and we're gonna make the circle first. So now we're gonna come down and over to the left and stand up. And then again, we're gonna step to the right and we're gonna under to the left. So we're making a circle. Let's do one more circle. Step over with the right and go under to the left. Okay, now we'll do it the other way. So step over with the right foot, and now you're gonna go under to the right. Okay, and then we can go to the left. Step over with the left, and then you're gonna go under to the left. And then step over with the right and go under to the right. And step over with the left and go under to the left. So you see, it's like we're taking some really big steps. One more each way. Well done. So I hope that inspires you to find some creative movement opportunities both on your mat, during your exercise time, and out in the world. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time.